People here in southern Portugal on the coast, that's the water. I want to quickly clarify for you something that we should put into paper. The most fraught area in the world, in the law and the legal system, is between boys and girls. It's an area without clarity. Every other area has great clarity, tremendous clarity, but an area of boys and girls, well, the law hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. However, the practice of the law has changed tremendously based on how much we view women. How do we trust women, right? Whether a woman's claim against a man is a he said, she said, or if it's an only he said, or in this case, it's an only she said. If she accuses him and he denies it, she doesn't even have to come out in public. That's the world that we're living in today. But my point is in general, and the reason why these things are so fraught, of course, is because it creates babies. And babies, everyone likes a cute baby. Nobody wants to see a suffering baby. So while when it comes to the question of should you wear a condom or not, and there are reasons pro and against, from all different perspectives as well. In other words, each perspective claims its reasons pro and against. It's still quite a fraught issue. There's still the matter of people are going to end up creating babies, even if you're anti the whole breeding movement. There's a number of Christian groups have tried to be over the years, a number of Jewish groups too. They said, let's end this whole breeding thing. It's the cause of so much disharmony, of loss of ourselves, of misdirecting our interests for the sake of creatures that we won't be able to control. Why not just try to control ourselves? Whatever. For a zillion reasons, it made sense to not have kids. People even recently will call themselves non-breeders. It's not an uncommon thing today in the world, in the West. Anyway, but the breeding thing, even they generally do have people that are breeding. They try to gain converts from the breeding community into their own community. So the baby thing is going to happen. Unless everyone decides together at the same time to commit suicide, having babies is going to happen. So once it's going to happen, everyone realizes it would be a problem if John ends up fucking his wife every day, and none of us fuck any women, and the women get bored. So the women all flock to John, and John's got, he's got a secretary on the outside making appointments by the 15 minutes. Well, we'd be like, whoa, wait, but okay, we kind of would like to have sex also, and love, and children too. What's the deal with this? All of a sudden we're surrounded by Johns, they're going to gang up on us and take our shit, which in reality is actually literally what often happens. It's an amazing thing, but it really is. Like in the Bible, they'll show it to you like on a small scale, where one side has more children and therefore they just, they overpower the other ones. And if you go to modern day, the reason everyone's afraid of China is because of China's numeric growth. That is exactly it. It's numeric growth. That's why they became an enemy of the United States. People aren't allowed to think that way because it would take too much explaining to themselves without, to get past the cognitive dissonance of the moral principles I think they believe. But anyway, point is, leads to sex. Sex leads to babies. So here's my thing about sex. I'm not trying to solve every problem right now, especially because YouTube only allows a 2-minute video, so I don't want to leave more than 3 of these. I'm going to finish right now on the third one. It's very simple. What I propose, and you can think about it among yourselves and make your arguments for it among yourselves. Try to draw up how it can be done among yourselves. But basically the norm, and I'm not saying norm means we force every single human to do it, it's a cultural norm. The norm is man and women have to, here's what needs to happen. What needs to happen is easily that if one of them is HIV, whatever the fuck, if some of them has a major disease of some kind, they do have to sign it. Each party does have to get a signed copy. Now, for those parties that feel that that's unromantic, that don't sign it, well, they're on their own and they're outside the legal system. Sorry about that. You guys are not allowed, you'll be like any other two people, You're not allowed to be involved with us. But otherwise, everyone signs. I agree, regardless of the other person's thing. The other person doesn't have to say what it is. All you're signing is that, She told me all of the things that she has, and I trust that those are all the things that she has, and I'm willing to go ahead with the sex. That's it. And if everyone signs that, whatever, if someone has a claim on somebody else, he can always bring it. Not that every single thing is recorded everywhere else, but everyone's got their own little black book, right? People have it anyway. So, at least in their head. So, so then you can take it to the doctor. It's like a paternity test, very simple. They see who had it first, and that person gets charged. They have to pay a certain thing, or they get a certain punishment, possibly some time even in prison. Whatever. Hard to, but for the most part, it would work out fine without you. This really wouldn't occur very much. Anyways, but beyond that, the guy should not wear a condom. But they can have whatever kind of sex they want. But basically, I'm saying don't wear a condom. Recognize that pregnancy. You already solved the STD problem once we get that shit figured out. Now the question is the pregnancy problem. Well, hey, that's what sex is. Let's get back to our fucking roots. Let's bring a little romance into this. Okay? Let's bring a little romance into this. Let's recognize that sex includes the possibility of making a baby with someone. That's how it's always motherfucking been. Let's stop being so different than how we evolved for 1 billion years. Are we serious? Putting things between us and her? Is that how we evolved? Is that how we evolved to enjoy sex? Give me a fucking break. You have regular fucking sex. And she can get pregnant. And basically, the guy, the only thing here, and the only requirement here, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to be part of the system, if you're part of this culture, is that the guy is, he gets her information. That's it. It's totally up to her if she wants to abort the baby, to have the baby, and it's pretty much her baby, except he helped make the baby. What are his responsibilities? Not the stupid way they do it in America, where fathers end up claiming that their own children aren't their children because they're not able to be raised by them. The law, policing with guns, are keeping them from seeing their own beloved children. So some of them end up thinking of their children as their enemy. It's the worst motherfucking thing. That's no bullshit, God forbid, like that. No. She does what she wants with the baby. It's her body. It's her choice. And most women nurse these days, I think, in the West. Her body, her choice. And also she's the mommy's choice. You don't have to say her body, her choice. The mommy's choice, right? Once the baby's born, right? The mommy gets to make pretty much all the decisions, at least up until the age of 2, okay? That's how it works. The mommy gets to make pretty much all the decisions up until the age of 2. Everyone knows that. It's how it's been in every culture. It's how it was for your parents. Unless you were crazy rich and you had people working for you, and who knows, maybe daddy made that decision. But no, I promise you, even that question, who the woman should be, I promise that was made by mommy and not by daddy. But the man gets the information. So she knows there is a man out there. Maybe she should be given his information too, but I don't know, because that could end up, complicating things. But maybe it's simply that if he wants to be part of the system, there has to be a central place, and I guess for privacy, the last 100 pages are burnt each day. I don't know, whatever. And this is already starting to feel like a big part of the legal system and changing it a little too much. But I'm saying, as a club, a small club of people can do this anyway. And anybody else who's joining into it automatically becomes part of the club. It's Taco's business venture on the league. The Airbnb. I don't even want to tell you about it. It's disgusting, but basically something like that. We're a community, after all, and this will help build a sense of community. Because I fucked someone who you fucked. It's weird. It's whatever. I really don't want to go down that angle. I really don't. It'll blow up the whole venture. So anyway, but the point is that he gets the number, and let's say she gets the number too, and they can contact each other at some point. Very simple, I prefer really if only he gets the number and she's not able to contact him for 2 years. But in that case, he has to contact her for 2 years. How do you make it that he has to contact her for 2 years? In 2 years? I don't know how you make it that way. You'd have to have some kind of central thing. And you saw how silly I started getting once we talked about a central, repository. So I guess, let it be that you each get each other's number. And she should know that he'll contact, that she should contact him or he'll contact her. But it's his responsibility to contact her. Sometime between the age of the baby's age of, sometime by the age of 2, to at least know if there's a baby, or you know, because I did want 2 separate levels, one for knowing if a baby exists and the other for deciding if he wants to be involved in some fashion, right? So, but let's keep it simple, and let's just say he's got to call, you know, she can call, right? He's got to, I'd rather he be free of the knowledge for as long as possible, right? Okay, 2 is what I can do. Basically, in 3 years from then, he's got to give her a call. That's how it is. In 3 years from then, he's got to give it a call. And the government gets involved in no other aspect of it whatsoever. Zero. Absolute zero. No courts, unless there's a dispute in a contract they create. Otherwise, no courts, none of that. No, get that done. Get that done. It would take us on our own with our own little baby hand contracts going to a court. It would take us 100,000 years before we ended up in the dystopian garbage that is the modern legal system when it comes to family stuff. Let us do it our own babyish way, all right? Own little contracts will go to court, otherwise totally unnecessary. He has no responsibilities beyond calling at the age of 2. Beyond calling and communicating with her at the age of 2. Let us say visiting her, because you want to make sure that it's more than like a 3-second call. Right? Beyond that responsibility, and she has his number too, and if he violates it and doesn't call, I guess she can go to the judge. Preferably, it's our own club, and we have our own judge. I'm not saying she can go to any kind of legal within the system thing, because fuck that, we don't do that. But basically, that's it. You know, again, the details you got to work out. But he calls her in 3 years from then, and that's resolved. Beyond that, they'll figure it out. Humans are humans. They'll figure it out. They might end up remaking marriage in such a way that it's multi. You know, that a man can have multiple of these women who he's fucked. Or perhaps she has had a number of men who she has fucked. And perhaps there actually could be like a communal feeling, a connection, like we're all uncles in some manner. You know, there are countries and societies that do that. Who knows? I'm saying stop with the current system of sex completely. Stop it completely. This is the new system.